Welcome, Dr. James Beckett, Sports Card Insights here with Rich Klein, another melancholy episode. Ryne Sandberg has passed away. Anytime you have metastatic anything, that's stage 4, and it means it's outside just the prostate. I guess the prostate original cancer was dealt with, but I had a friend, same thing happened. It's very sad. Too young at 65. Thanks sponsors, Topps Panini, Upper Deck, Heritage Auctions, Huggins Scott Auctions, Mike's Stadium Sports Cards, Burbank Sports Cards, ComC.com, and Beckett Media, Beckett Grading, Beckett Authentication. Thanks, Rich. He was a contemporary of both of us, definite Hall of Famer. He had to wait 3 years to get in the Hall of Fame, which I think is not fair.
He's a first ballot Hall of Famer, in my opinion. What's interesting is his first hobby peak of popularity comes right as you're beginning the magazine. The Ryne Sandberg rookie definitely exploded after the famous, what is called the Sandberg game,
Yes.
which was on network TV in, I believe, June of '84. Bob Costas and I forgot who was doing the analysis were doing the telecast that day. I think it was actually the backup game for NBC. It wasn't even the primary game. But that was the power in those days of network TV having a game of the week. And baseball, I think, lost something after the game of the week went away from network TV for many years. It has hurt the overall popularity of the game. Major League Baseball may very well set an attendance record this year, but it's because people are now going for the experience, because there's all sorts of experience of going to a game. In '84, you went to a game.
And it was a game. It wasn't all these entertainment options and everything in between innings and after the game and all that stuff. You went for the game because you love the game and you love the players. When we were doing price guides, and you came in a few years after that to our company, but it seemed like the relationship within the rookie card classes in the 83 Topps, Fleer, and Donruss, you had Sandberg, but you had Tony Gwynn and you had Wade Boggs. Was Sandberg always in second place to Gwynn? And
He was actually
Boggs,
behind Boggs. Originally, he's behind Boggs. Really, the first rookie in '83 coming out of the gate because of what he did in the '82 series is actually Willie McGee, who's still a popular rookie, not on that level, but he's still a popular rookie to this day. Then Boggs wins a batting title in '83, I believe. So he moves up. Gwynn and Sandberg come up in '84. So Sandberg is really at or above Bonds by '84.
Okay.
What's interesting to me, and then speaking about when I came to Beckett, I set up at the '90 National. In those early Nationals, we had what I would consider the card of the show, meaning everybody's chasing that card. Like '83 National was the '83 Fleer Ron Kittle. '84 National, you're in New York, so you have Don Mattingly in August, where he's going to win a batting title. '87, you have the Mark McGwire '85 Topps Olympic rookie card, except for a few people who don't understand why it's really the rookie card, but that's a different subject for a very different day. The card of the '90 National was '83 Topps Ryne Sandberg card.
But beyond that now, in the last several years, and today notwithstanding, it seems like Gwynn has taken the lead, because both those guys were 5-tool players, but Gwynn had such a batting eye and stroke.
I think they're all about the same. You can shake them up and it might be a different player for a different day.
Yeah.
But one thing about Tony Gwynn that I think people miss is really he was charismatic as a player.
Yeah.
Sandberg was a great player, but I don't know if Sandberg was really charismatic as a player.
Different personality.
Exactly. And people remember his personality, the bubbly personality, how much fun he had playing baseball.
It would be a lot of fun if you never struck out, which Tony Gwynn almost never struck out. Not that Sandberg and Boggs weren't great hitters, they were. But, anyway, what about the cards? He's got certified autographs, he's got on-card autographs. People have known that he had this prostate cancer, which is beatable, but if you don't treat it, it can get outside the prostate, and then you're in deep trouble.
I'm curious. I work for ComC. You always tell me people buy your cards on ComC the day after something like this happens.
Yep.
How many have you sold already?
I haven't looked to see how many I have left, but that's not what gets me. It gets me that they will make me an offer at less than my price. But a lot of them sell. Not all of them, but a lot of them sell. And I'm the lowest price sometimes, but I'm not really low priced. but I've gotten some good action on Sandberg. And I'm happy if they're going to people that really appreciate him and are not looking to do a quick flip.
You're going to Chicago this week. I posted that I thought his cards would be really hot at the National. And I'm wondering because he's beloved in Chicago,
Yep.
He's really in the news, and you're at the biggest card show in existence. I'm going to be curious to hear how much, if any, activity, not just on graded rookie cards, but overall Sandbergs there will be at the show.
It's happened in time for many of the dealers who have not fully loaded up yet to load up some more. Dealers can only sell what they have, but in many cases they have backstock. They can't bring everything. So if they're coming to the show, if they haven't already left, they could load up some extra Sandbergs. But what are you going to bring? He's got rookie cards that would clearly be graded. He's probably got some other nicer inserts or things from later on in his playing career. He's got a couple of minor league cards that are tougher, that are pre-rookies, some certified autographs. He's got lots of cards, but showcase quality cards.
Here's the other thing. Remember, he came back. He's one of the last of a group. There's a decent amount of most valuable players who later became major league managers. It really hasn't happened in the last 3 decades. Most valuable players who later becomes a major league manager.
Yeah, who also maybe was not that great of a manager.
Yeah, he was with the Phillies, but he also managed in the minor leagues. I think he actually enjoyed being a manager. And I know there's a Topps Heritage manager card of him. And I suspect there might be a minor league team set manager card of him.
Well, that might mean he really emphasizes player development, which fits the minor league system. In the major leagues, you just got to motivate the players to get out there. And I don't even know how you do that. You go up and, hey, get a hit. But there's more tutelage, I think, in the minor leagues. I think he played the game the way it was supposed to be played. So, yeah, not every MVP makes a great manager.
No, as a matter of fact, as far as my memory tells me that Kirk Gibson is the last MVP to have become a major league manager. But there was a whole bunch before Kirk Gibson. There's a lot in the 50s. There's a lot in the 60s. There's a lot in the 70s. I'm just going to do a couple names of people from the card era. Yogi Berra is one. Yeah. Frank Robinson becomes a major league manager. Don Baylor's a major league manager. Joe Torre's a major league manager. These are people who win MVP awards. Ken Boyer, who's a borderline Hall of Famer, became a major league manager. I'm missing a couple, and I want that clear. But you're right. I think he enjoyed the whole aspect of helping players develop. You're a Hall of Famer. You can sign autographs at shows. You can do things. At this point of your life, you don't really have to work if you're a baseball Hall of Famer. But he wanted to become a man. And I think that says something about him as a person and how much he loved baseball. And I don't know if there's that many people anymore that still, after their playing career, which is why I point out the MVPs who become manager, they don't do that anymore. I don't know if that breed truly continues. I know a few years ago, pre-pandemic, I saw Trevor Hoffman at a Frisco Rough Riders game, and he signed willingly after watching everybody do their warm-ups because I think he enjoyed working with pitchers, watching them develop. I don't know how many players do that anymore, and Sandberg did, and that's something to his credit. And something else to his credit, and I saw it on some social media, he posted a photo of himself like 2 days before he passed.
Oh, boy. Showing
that he was going to keep fighting. But he fought the final battle with grace and style and courage. And that's how he played the game, too. He had grace, he had style, and he had courage. Second base is not a place for wimps.
Or third base, which is where they started him, too. But the other thing that he had going for him, which doesn't happen as much now, is that he was a well-rounded, excellent athlete in high school, and a recruited quarterback for Division I football, and he chose baseball, and I think that was a good choice. But I don't think kids are playing all the different sports as much now.
I was reading a little bit about him this morning, and as the scout for the Phillies is negotiating with the Sandberg family, Sandberg and his brother are out there, and he's just loosely dunking the basketball. He just was a good athlete. This scout, I believe his name was Joe Henry, watched him play. He wasn't there to scout Sandberg originally. Says, this is the real deal. And his heart's really in baseball, not in football. And he was an All-American high school football quarterback.
I'm just saying, the old-time scouts didn't look at the metrics of the exit velocity and all this stuff. They just looked at the person, the character, and how well rounded they were. Show me a guy that's dunking a basketball at a normal sized person and is playing quarterback at a high level, then you've got to think he's got a good chance in baseball if he's already had success up to that level. That games slow up to him, that he's not overwhelmed. When he got in the big leagues, he had a little bit of a slow start, but he came on strong.
He had a typical rookie year, and they moved him from third to second. And what was interesting is the White Sox had a rookie about 25 years later, Gordon Beckham. I believe he won a Rookie of the Year award. He started at third base, and his cards got really hot because the White Sox moved him to second base. And everybody figured, okay, the last guy who did this was Ryne Sandberg. Beckham's going to be just as hot as Sandberg. Well, not so much. But that was a card insight, too, where people remembered what Sandberg did. And for a couple of years, they went on the Beckham train because of what Sandberg had done 25 years earlier.
That's just an indication that Ryne Sandberg is gone, but not forgotten. That's one of the great things about the hobby is that iconic cards live on, and the love for the player and the player collecting. You don't quit collecting a guy because he's passed away. Can even be endearing. Like I said, you scrutinize all the great things the guy did. I think the toughest card that he has is not even maybe a full card, but it's the Venezuelan sticker.
All those Venezuelan stickers are tough.
I've got just a few of those. I don't have that one, but as I've said, I could put out a bounty on it, and I think I still wouldn't get it, but I'd love to have that on my wall. The Red Lobster card, that's a kind of a pre-rookie. And his Reading Phillies and the OKC 89ers. There's some good cards there, but probably people are looking for the shiny stuff, I think.
Right, but he's going to have autographs. He's going to have some shiny cards. It'll be interesting to see just how many cards sell. You'll be watching, and one thing I do is that when I'm not super chatty up, when I'm digging through boxes like you, but I will ask people, especially if the situation's a little quieter, hey, what are you doing? It's still part of my price guide ethos days because I'm still on a learning curve.
If I'm sitting next to somebody at a dollar box table, and first of all, I don't usually ask them, what are you looking for? Because it'll makes for an awkward conversation. If they say, I'm looking for Ryne Sandberg, I feel like saying that's a needle in the haystack. You don't go to a dollar box to find one player, even a team or some theme that's broader than just one player. There's people that have it organized by the player. And I don't want them to ask me, what are you looking for? Because it's too hard to explain, but you have to have a broad thing you're looking for. Well, on the other hand, if they told me they're looking for Ryne Sandberg, and I know you're better at this than I am, is that subliminally, somehow, if I'm scanning real fast and I see a Ryne Sandberg, I'm going to pop it out and put it in front of them, even though it wouldn't be something I would want, because I'm usually doing lower supply, lower demand players. But if I see a Ryne Sandberg and somebody wants one, I'm going to pull it out and slide it over there and say, hey, how about this? And they always thank you. They don't have to take it, but just thoughtful. And like I say, you're great at that. Last question, does Ryne Sandberg get an enduring bump, or is he just going to get a month in the sun and then go back to where he was?
He gets a bump above what Dave Parker's bump would be. It'll last. It won't be a huge bump, but it will be a bump because we won't have very many Ryne Sandberg cards anymore. And so you have a finite number now, and you definitely should have a finite number of autographs.
The other thing we haven't gotten to is that, again, he got in the Hall of Fame on his third try, which seems criminal, but he retired early during the strike, but then he came back a year later and played another couple of years. But if he'd have played till he was 40, he would have bet 3,000 hits. He could have been at another level, perhaps, but he wasn't a stat monger. He was a good player, and I guess he thought he couldn't play at the same level that he'd established, and he went out on his own terms.
There's something to be said about going out on your own terms. Not every player gets to do that.
Yeah.
So he made a conscious decision. It was time for him to go. And he's actually done that, and he did that twice. And he got a little bit of a break. The first retirement was just before the baseball strike. And so he didn't really lose as much time.
Right.
He did sit out the whole 95 season, but he didn't lose a lot of time in 94. So we have most of the memories, and as Brian Gray likes to say, it's saved on video. The
Even on
Sandberg
video.
game
The Sandberg game is on
is
video.
YouTube. You can watch the Sandberg game.
Magical. Yeah.
Magical. And that's the whole point.
Hey, it's magical, except what about Nick Kurtz?
Hey, I haven't seen it. Nick Kurtz had the greatest game.
I'm saying it's going to make
when
Ryne
it was a
Sandberg's
Friday
game.
night game in the West Coast, which is like guaranteed not to get publicity.
Yeah.
People think it's the greatest game anybody's ever had as a hitter.
It's almost unimprovable. What are you going to get? 6 home runs instead of only 4?
He was feet away from the 5 homers. And if he had gotten the 5 homers, I know I've had a bunch and I didn't keep them. They went to other people.
Yeah.
One of the nations, I had a whole bunch of Nick Kurtz cards in it. So somebody's going to do very well off what I offloaded. And I'm happy for them because
absolutely,
that keeps people saying, hey, Rich, you have more stuff.
Well, that keeps saying, hey, you've got some more stuff like that with some hidden nuggets in there.
I tell people
can't guarantee it, but
I can't guarantee anything.
It's like my lots. They need to be as advertised or potentially better or hopefully better, but not worse.
All things should be better than you advertise, or at least the same.
And Sandberg was better than no one could have predicted in 80, 81, 82. Could predict that he'd be probably a good major leaguer, but he's a Hall of Famer.
One guy predicted it because he signed him
with enough of a bonus to get him to disavow his quarterback.
And then when he became the GM of the Cubs, he said, how about throwing in this kid Sandberg into this Boa for De Jesus trade?
Yeah.
He knew enough where he wanted to get him as a prospect. And that trade made the Cubs, and the Cubs don't win the playoffs, but they have a magical 84 season.
Yeah.
First time they're in the playoffs in almost 40 years. Then they're in the playoffs again in 89. Again, they don't win. And in those days, the games were on WGN. Yeah. So there's a decent amount of people watching every single day. And it's during the day, if you're a kid in the summer, you might go out and play. The 80s, there's still a lot of kids going out and play. But you come inside and you watch some baseball. And you're watching the Cubs, and you're listening to Harry Carey, and you're watching Sandberg play every day. So how many kids are named Ryne because of that?
He was named after Ryne Duren. In fact, I went to college with Ryne Duren's son. That was the only Ryne until Ryne Sandberg, and there'll be more Rynes. Right.
Yeah, one of the articles I read, they saw Ryne Duren pitch 40 days before Ryne Sandberg was born. And they said, this is a good name for a kid. Yeah. So, yeah, he's named after Ryne Duren, but it wasn't for any great reason other than they liked the name when they saw him.
Okay. Well, thanks, Rich. And
thank
you, Ryne Sandberg, for many great memories, and condolences to his family and friends, of which collectors are friends of sorts of these great players. What level of relationship we have other than cardboard is to be determined.